me to cough down the microphone quite as loud as that. But here I am. Okay, so welcome, welcome to another episode of Drinks Coach. I know I haven't done many of these for a while. I'll also probably make this into uh, an Instagram post as well because more people connect with me. Um, but this is a very, very nice one. Um, Thank you very, very much to Annie Lim for sending me these wonderful sherries from one of my favorite sherry bodegas. Now, no one makes bad sherry. I just want to make that point. Well, not no one. Very little sherry is not good sherry. And if you look at the largest producer in the world, you know who it is. They make some of the world's greatest sherries. Right now, at the risk of sounding like I'm being disloyal to certain brands, I think that Barbadillo, um, which is a Manzanilla producer, is producing pound for pound the world's best sherries at the moment. Their drinks just extraordinary for not very much money. And for those people who've seen it, I have, I think, on many many occasions recommended their Manzanilla en Rama La Pastrana, which is like £20 for a whole bottle. Same price as these, in fact. But here we have en Rama, which means they're brought fresh. It means on the branch in Spanish, but it means they've been pulled out of the barrels from the heart of a criadera, um, and they are not designed to be kept because they've got very very little preservative. They're not treated in any way to go into bottle for a long aging, but they're designed to be the full artistic expression. That it's a bit like somebody described it as it's a difference between lager or keg beer and real ale, which makes sense. Real ale has more texture, more live, but it's a candle that flickers brightly but not as long. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the best description of what we're doing here. Um, I thought of another one just now, but it didn't just went out of my head just as quickly as it came in. But here we are. We've got three different sherries here. This is a chance to reinforce people's love for sherry. If you look back, I did three sherry shows. If you watch those shows, you pretty much know everything you need to know about sherry, and it's like an hour out of your life, big deal. But it means I don't have to tell everyone over and over bloody again. So this is kind of like an update, should we call it that? A refresher course. We have Amontillado, which means sherry that tastes like Montilla, which is a region produced wines which are a bit nutty. Basically, it's fresh Fino or Manzanilla sherries that have come to the end of their bacterial aging and are starting to oxidize very slightly. So these are the light brown sherries. And then we've got Palo Cortado, cut stick, very specially selected sherries, which have no flaw but have incredible freshness. And cut stick, Palo Cortado, is one of the great kind of styles of sherry that I think cognoscenti look for. Uh, Wines of great purity, um, but they lack that sherry character that Flor, Manzanilla, and Amontillados have. And then we've got Oloroso. Oloroso means odorous. It means pooey, smelly, stinky, which isn't fair because that's my favourite of the three. Okay, but we'll go on to that. But that's the wine that's most oxidative. More, it tastes almost like beef stock. It has an umami off the scale. Okay, so let's have a look. Amontillado. This comes from a bodega called Mil Pesetas, 1,000 pesetas, which is about £8.50. But that's not the point. It was probably a lot more money than then. 18th century Mudéjar style, old kind of Arabic cellar, incredible cellar to go and visit. Amazing color to the drink. You should drink these drinks like in a white wine glass in small amounts. You don't have to drink the whole thing in 5 minutes, but it's 19% alcohol, so be a little careful. And this has got lovely savory aromas. You can still smell some of the floor character which came from the Manzanilla that preceded it. This is basically a solera which is making old La Pastrana. That's it. Okay. Um, has a smell of. This is really rare, but you pick it up sometimes. The smell of fresh, uncooked mushrooms, like white button mushrooms cut when they're fresh into a salad. Adorable. And I could think of having a mushroom salad with this, cooked or otherwise. The Whiskey Exchange will sell this to you for £18.95. For a drink that's nearly 20% alcohol, you're not only getting maximum flavour, but you're getting a maximum deal in terms of getting people drunk at the table. This is just does both for you. Dawn, if you're watching, love you. Okay, so moving on to Palo Cortado. So this came from a criadera in the Sacristia cellar in La Casa de Cia. I've got information here. Yeah, I'm unusually informed, I think. Um, this is absolutely delicious with, I know, where this is much more my mushroom beef consomme kind of go to freshness, fresh shoulder of hamon. Uh, I think that Palo Cortado works better with pure game, things like duck liver pate. Um, Works quite well sauteed with shellfish. It's nice with very, very nutty cheeses, Old Amsterdam, Gruyere, things like that. But it's kind of a Palo Cortado in its straightness as a straight man works very much better with game than the other sherries, which are already gamey themselves, which can cause points of clash. And you don't get that with Palo Cortado. Oh, so pure. I opened this up for my wife Emma last night, and I just heard a ooh, and she didn't mean it, but that it came from the wine. I'm just saying. Okay, it's hardly understandable that that's the same price, but it is. It's 18.95 at Whiskey Exchange. You can also buy it from the Oxford Wine Company, the Wine Library, Venum. No, Venum doesn't sell this one. The Whiskey Exchange, the Wine Society. Oh, the Wine Society sells this. It's probably a fiver there. Check them out. Okay, so we come on to the last one. This very, very short little strand. Barbadillo and Rama Oloroso. Look at the colour. This one's like where the other two look like I know Rylan in terms of tan. This is George the Hamilton the Fourth, isn't it? This is kind of or or Ross in that episode of Friends where he gets a 2 on the back and an 8 on the front. Do you know what I mean? Okay, this is that colour, dark tan. No, oh, nutty. Oh God, what do we have this with this? Oh yes, I made a sausage casserole last night, which is why I opened it and wanted to do this tasting today. Albondigas, meatballs made with pork or veal and pork, with a lovely, sweet, rich sherry concentration of tomatoes and peppers. I've mentioned this many times before, and this is one of my favourite food and wine matches. There we go. Incredible, incredible with albondigas or associated flavours. Also like it's got a it's although it's bone dry, has this wonderful kind of curl of fruit over the top, a garnish of opulent fruit. Baked pineapple, baked apricot. I'd describe, but this with stews, braised beef, albondigas, sausages, and gamey hamon and funky cheeses, you cannot go wrong. Again, 18.95. Whiskey Exchange, Fair and Wine Cellar. Well done, sir. You know you are, Mr. Mantella. Wine Library, Lecker Wines. Some South African dude has got the bug as well. And Robinson Spate. There we go. So all these wines are under £20 a bottle. Cannot, for my life of me, work out why that is the case because they're very high in alcohol, so they should cost more. Um, Absurd value, even now, absurd value for money. Buy one of these and just call it chef's perks. Just stagger out the kitchen and start shouting at buses when people don't like you. Okay, there you go. That's it. Barbadillo, Fells, Annie Lim. Thank you.